Hey everybody, Austin back again, continuing part 3 of this Ninja Gaiden Trilogy Super Nintendo Let's Play series. So yeah, part 3, we are going to be attempting to run through Ninja Gaiden 3, which is probably the most lacking conversion of the 3 games on this pack, mostly due to lots of background scrolling being missing, particularly towards the end of the game. And I can already tell there's a teensy tiny bit of slowdown, which is a little odd. So yeah, Ninja Gaiden 3. I don't even know where to start, because it's Ninja Gaiden 3. Ninja Gaiden 3 is sort of, I don't want to say the black sheep of the family. I do think it's a good game, and I do like it, but there were some interesting changes made that I don't know were for the better. For one, the movement is floaty, which, like, you just float in the air. Just look how slow you go. I don't know why they made that change, and I don't think a lot of people liked that change, to be honest with you, based on, you know, reviews I've seen of the game and whatnot. But, you know, once you adjust to it, it's still solid. You get used to it, and I don't really mind the floatiness that much, but it does seem like an odd choice to implement after Ninja Gaidens 1 and 2, which were much faster games. Now look at that, another change. The bosses don't blink when you hit them. That's kind of bad. In Ninja Gaiden 3, whenever you attacked a boss, they would blink. And that was one of the cool effects about this game. And it doesn't look like that happens in this. Because in Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 for the NES, the bosses did not blink. So that was actually kind of a cool addition. And they took it out of this conversion. Wow. So Ninja Gaiden 3 is probably the most difficult of the 3, and it's really not that bad early on in the game, but there are, just even right from the beginning, more enemies on screen than what you typically get in the other 2 Ninja Gaiden games. I mean, as early on in the game as we're talking about right now. And so, Ninja Gaiden 3 I do think picks up sooner in difficulty than the other 2 do. But it also becomes more difficult than the other 2 by the last stage in the game. So, you guys will see what I mean there once we get to the final levels. But it's a very challenging game. Requires a lot of memorization, just like the other Ninja Gaiden games. But, just like the other Ninja Gaiden games, it's one of those things where, you know, the more you play it, the more you get used to it, the more you know the levels. Oh look, there's another change. There's no fire at the bottom like there's supposed to be. Actually, what was kind of funny is I saw it there at first, and then it just sort of fell below the screen. In the NES version, there's just fire, like lava, flowing up from the bottom of the screen that you see at all times. And it's missing here. It's just... yeah, a lot of concessions were made for this specific port of the game, and I don't understand why. It must have just been a rushed product. It must have just been rushed, because, I mean, we're going from the NES to the SNES, and I don't really know if there are any specific advantages the NES has over the Super Nintendo. I mean, maybe some effects like scrolling were easier to implement on the NES, but I don't honestly think that was probably the case. Like, I honestly think it was probably just a rush job. They were like, oh man, we got to get this out for the holiday season or something like that. I don't know when the game came out, but... you know, I just think it was probably rushed. Which is sad, because it would have been awesome to have, you know, for one, flawless conversions. That would be a good start, but it would have also been great. It would have also been great if, you know, there were some enhancements made as well. Not just, you know, straight conversions. But give the Mario All-Stars treatment. Make every game look new. You know, like they did with Mario All-Stars, and that was great in that series. That cartridge. What was interesting is I got to that boss fight, and it did not play the boss music. It played the same music from that level, so... that's another issue. Talk about a lack of polish, man. Talking about a lack of polish. This level was always one of the most difficult for me back in the day. Because of those fish in the bottom. They just, as you can see, they jump up pretty high. And it's easy to get killed by them. But if you have this attack, you could shoot through the water and pretty much destroy them. So just like that, just like that. One of the cool additions in this game, though, going from, say, Ninja Gaiden 2 and then going to this, is they pretty much made every weapon in the game larger, except for the throwing star. But like this weapon right here, you shoot out, well, I can't show you now because I ran out of my ninja art, but I could do it now. You shoot out 3 bullets, whereas in Ninja Gaiden 2, you only shoot out 1. And so that's cool. It actually covers a much wider space going downwards, which is neat. So there have been some pretty cool additions in the game like that. And it definitely makes clearing out rooms of enemies a lot easier in this game than it is in either of the other 2 Ninja Gaiden games. One of the other cool additions to Ninja Gaiden 3 is the big sword power-up. That was one of the better additions, I think. You know, just my personal opinion. But I do think it was one of the better additions they made. It definitely makes attacking certain enemies quite a bit easier than it was in the first game. It required less accuracy and things like that. You could just slice and dice your way through the levels a little bit easier. That was cool. It sort of makes up for the slightly more difficult, well, difficulty. So, God, what am I doing? I feel like this is a repeat of the Ninja Gaiden 2 Let's Play, where I'm just slamming into enemies left and right. Alright, so the big sword's gonna be down here. Right here. And this could be kind of tricky working your way back. You've got these big robotic bug things. Those guys could be a major pain. They pretty much act just like the birds do in other Ninja Gaiden games. But they're larger, so they're technically easier to hit. And on this boss, only one of them will actually take damage. And unfortunately, it's harder to tell which one you're hitting because they don't blink anymore! Go, rushed port job. Yeah. What I found interesting with this stage is that it's almost like you're upside down. You've got the mountains up top that are yeah, it just looks like you're upside down, like walking on the ceiling or something. I don't know if you're actually walking on the ceiling. There's nothing in the game that says you're walking on the ceiling, but you know, that's the vibe I'm getting here. It's always a little disorienting. Oh, I forgot to mention, that's one of the other things they added to the game, is you can now hang on to ledges. Certain ones, anyway. Very specific ones. That was a cool little addition. I like that. I do like that. Gotta watch out for these spikes. One other thing I should note that I totally forgot about is the fire wheel, or not the fire wheel, but the sort of spinning fire wheel that rotates around you. It actually makes you invincible through spikes. So once I get some ninja art power, I will go ahead and use it and demonstrate it for you. But some of the most difficult parts in the game involve spikes, those spikes in particular, particularly on the last level. And by using the fire wheel, you can actually just walk straight through them for the duration of it. So I'll go ahead and fall back down, So let me go ahead and use it. See? Not doing any damage to me. Just like that. So this is a really, really good power-up to have if you're having trouble with portions with spikes. Pfft. I could get hit by it, but I couldn't hit it. Nice. Ah, so floaty. Oh, crap. That was bad. Why did I do that? Shoot. Ugh. I lost the fire wheel. Or the fire... I'll call it the fire shield. Because I always thought this was technically the fire wheel. Shooting wheels of fire up the screen. I don't know which one's which. I don't know the correct term for any of these. Alright, boss time. Dude's going to fly up just like that, and then you hit him. And then he sort of drills down, shoots fire up, and then pops up wherever you are on screen. Oh, one more hit. I think it's 5? Maybe 4, 5. There we go. I find it kind of funny that they use music from the boss music from the other 2 Ninja Gaiden games in this, instead of like using its original boss theme. That's weird. So we're pretty much at the final stretch of levels already, believe it or not. And this was always one of the most difficult levels in the game because of all these damn enemies. Oh, that was a bad idea. Ugh, I had to just wait. Gotta wait. Ooh, slow down. Look at that. Oh, glorious slowdown. Wow. It's going to be a little difficult without having any power-ups. Well, one of the things that isn't as bad in this game is the knockback. So if you do get hit, you don't have as much, you know, fear of getting knocked off the edges. You kind of bounce upwards in a floaty manner versus just getting knocked back completely. And that definitely adds to the game's sort of floaty feel. Possibly for the better, depending on your tastes. I personally kind of like having punishment when I get hit. So, you know, if I actually got knocked back to my death, I would probably be a lot safer. Or much more aware of what I'm doing when I'm playing. But, you know, to each their own. I don't mind being knocked back just a teensy tiny bit. With pretty much how it is right now. But I am used to, especially after just playing Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 back to back, I am used to that more harsh knockback. Alright, you should be getting close to the boss. And this should be it. Not a very difficult boss. Which is the case for most bosses in this game, actually. Most bosses are just really not that difficult at all. Alright. Getting closer, getting closer. Oh yeah, another icy level. Whoa, it's close. Almost got knocked off that time. And that guy actually kept me from getting knocked off. I do kind of like the ice on this level because you can just sort of just keep floating along. Even when you try to stop, you just kind of keep moving, and it gives a nice sense of flow, which is pretty cool. I always like good flow in a game. So I was mentioning in my Ninja Gaiden 2 Let's Play about how that game implemented interesting like environments and whatnot. Like if you were on the ice stage and you were crawling on a wall, sometimes you would slip down a little bit. And I did make a brief mention of how Ninja Gaiden 3 doesn't have any of that, but I actually stand corrected because this level does have some of that. Like this level, you'll sort of like sink into the floor. You do have to watch out though, because if you sink too far, you'll actually die. So there is that constant threat, which you actually don't have in Ninja Gaiden 2. There aren't any environmental hazards in that game as far as I'm aware. It's just pretty much all endless pits. I mean, yeah, there's some fire pits, but they treat it just like an endless pit, so... So that makes this this game kind of interesting in that regard. Got it. 7 lives. I don't think we're going to have too much of a problem beating this game, guys. I mean, I was a little skeptical when I started, but I'm feeling pretty good about this. I am feeling pretty good about it. This is probably one of the trickier bosses in the game, though. He slams into the wall. That's his weak spot. The tricky part is the rocks that fall down. They seem to be kind of randomized, and if you get hit by them, they apparently don't take that much health off you in this one, but in the NES version, I'm pretty sure they do a lot more damage. So we're on the final stage, and if you notice, there's actually wind blowing me. Just like that. And in the NES version, you can tell, okay, wind, it makes sense, because there's like a million layers of background scrolling that makes you look like you're on a ship that's moving very fast. And, okay, got it, makes sense. But this, they leave the wind in, but take out the background scrolling. Why they did that, I have no idea, man. So, this is probably the biggest example of a rushed section in this version of the game. And if you happen to tune into my Ninja Gaiden 2 Let's Play, you'll remember that I pointed out on the 3rd level in that game how there was no thunder and lightning like there was in the NES version. The level was always bright, whereas in the NES one, it would... Oh, first death. In the NES one, it would only lighten up when the lightning would strike. And it was a really cool effect, and they took it out for this trilogy package of the game. So some concessions were made, and I honestly have no idea why. And again, I'll state it again, I honestly just think it was probably a rush job. Which is a shame. I think it's a big shame. Especially considering how much money this cartridge goes for nowadays. It's one of the most expensive Super Nintendo games available. And it's one of the most sort of disappointing Super Nintendo games all the same. So there almost seems to be a running trend in that regard. A lot of expensive Super Nintendo games aren't that great. I mean, they're still good games. Like, don't get me wrong. If I could buy this game for 20 bucks, I probably would, because it's got some of my favorite action games of all time on them, even as hacked up as they are. But we're talking like $100 or $150 cartridge now. Yeah. Castlevania Dracula X on the Super Nintendo is a bit of the same way. It's a good game in its own right, but it's just not the $150 cartridge that it sells for. It's not that good of a game. So there are some rarer SNES carts that demand a high price, but aren't necessarily, you know, the amazing games that you think they would be at that price. So, whoa. Yeah, so this is pretty much the final level, and it gets very tricky. This definitely requires some memorization and some good timing. And some patience. One of the great things about Ninja Gaiden 3, though, is once you kill certain enemies, they don't come back. So I killed him. Oops. Well, he's going to come back now because I just switched screens. Hey, look at that. All the power-ups came back. But you can't get it. Or can you? Huh. I'm going to try this. I got it! And then I died. You might be able to get that if you get your timing just perfect. But I'm not going to try again. So... Okay, so like I was saying, okay, I killed that guy, and I moved back over, and he's not coming back. So that's the example I wanted to demonstrate. Ninja Gaidens 1 and 2 don't do that. You kill enemies in those games, and the second you walk off screen and then move back, the enemies are back too. And it can get extremely frustrating in those games. So Ninja Gaiden 3 does have that going for it, which the other two do not. And in some ways, Ninja Gaiden 3 is actually easier. As long as you know where the enemies are coming from, especially on this level, once you know where those enemies are coming from, the game is a lot easier in some regards than Ninja Gaiden 1 or 2. I just think Ninja Gaiden 3 is harder to learn and get used to. I think that's really the issue with the game, is that it was a lot harder for me to be able to finally beat Ninja Gaiden 3 than it was the first two. But once I kept doing it, the game actually became easier and easier and easier. And now I can usually beat it every time I play the game, much like Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2. Now again, this is the level where you kind of want to have the fire shield, and I don't have it. And I don't know where, did I just miss it, or I probably just wasn't paying attention. But it's a great weapon to have here. And actually, you know, it might have been cut out of the American version, now that I think about it, for this stage. because it was in the Japanese one when I did my Japanese Ninja Gaiden Let's Play of Part 3. And I had it here in that Let's Play of the Famicom release. So this is definitely a memorization section. You have to know what's coming up, otherwise you are probably going to die with these disintegrating platforms and the big enemies coming up below you. Just like that. Just tank if you have to, you know, in order to stay safe. Oh, that's not good. Ow. I went the wrong way. That was my fault. Well, I've got 9 lives, so I don't think it's going to take me 9 times to to beat this section. Just let that laser move on. Not really a big fan of those enemies with those lasers. It just kind of slows down the pace of the game. Which is one thing that Ninja Gaiden games have always been good at, is having a really good pace. They just really flow well. If I remember correctly, the second form was more of a pain, but it's been about a year since I played this game, so I don't even remember what he was. Oh yeah, I remember now. Great. Huh, that was interesting. He actually seemed easier than I remember. I remember always getting blasted by his shots before. Maybe they made him easier in this version. Whoa! Oh no! Ugh. Oh look, they put me back here. I thought they were going to start me all the way back to the very beginning. I wonder if that was a modification made for this compilation, because I was pretty sure the game was just as brutal as Ninja Gaidens 1 and 2 if you die at a boss. Essentially what happens if you die at a boss in those games, you get shot back to the very beginning of the stage, and this obviously isn't the beginning. The beginning would be the fast-moving ship portion in the very beginning of the game when you're still outside. So we get to do this all over again. You can kind of see how I do it. Again, you got to be very methodical about it. I never change up my strategy there. It's pretty much I just hop along block by block and don't die like that usually. But it's okay. We have 7 lives left. Alright, let's just tank it. Ow. Okay, that's not working. It's not working at all. These guys really aren't dealing that much damage, so I don't really feel threatened. I'm still gonna get some health. Oh, jeez. Alright, let's play a little bit safer this time. So I can actually, you know, beat the game so we can all get on with our lives. Both you and me alike. Yay, that was close. Yeah, there's definitely a fire wheel here, or a fire shield in the Japanese version, but it's nowhere to be found in the American version, apparently. And I went the wrong way again. Alright, this is it. Let's do this. This boss is not that difficult. For being the final boss and being as large as he is, it's really not that difficult. Wait, why haven't I done any damage to him? The hell? Do you have to break off? Oh, you might have to... Oh, yeah. I don't remember having to do that before. Yay! It's proper... Ooh, that was bad. Got him. I was gonna say, you just gotta have some proper timing and spacing, and you should be able to get through that without a problem. Oh, man! I'm freaking tired. Oh. I throw that controller down. I basically did these Ninja Gaidens 1, 2, and 3 on this package back to back in one session. So, while it's only been about 20 minutes for you guys, it's actually been about 2 hours for me. Going through all these videos. I'm actually pretty tired. It's actually very early in the morning. I was up at 6:30 a.m. today. It's about 9 o'clock now. And I'm on vacation from work. Or staycation, as some people have called it. I'm on vacation, but I'm still at my home doing Let's Plays. So, and I might even go back to bed after this. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed this series of Ninja Gaiden Trilogy Let's Plays. As you saw, these are kind of in some ways, rushed conversions, but I don't want to, you know, sound like a broken record. You can read all about these online. It's a cool little package, a little too expensive for what it is, all things considered. You're probably best off still playing the NES versions, but it's still fun to revisit every now and then, especially as a big fan of the original 3 Ninja Gaiden games. So, again, I hope you guys enjoyed this series, and if you have any questions on tips or tricks, for anything I haven't mentioned, feel free to post a comment below and let me know. And I can try to help you out there. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video relatively shortly, I'm sure. And I'll catch you all soon. Until then, take care.